This is the basement dweller. That the photo on file is that of an attic is important to note. What is being displayed is the end stage of a highly contagious, nearly impossible to cure fungal infection. If discovered, the residence in question is to be quarantined. It is imperative that the outbreak does not make it outside. Afterwards, everything is to be burned to the ground using the highest temperature flames and accelerants. We do not want one spore escaping. Any agent found inside the quarantine without a full biohazard suit is also to be checked for infection. If they are found to be infected, they must be executed as soon as possible and their bodies burned. The basement dweller is a fungus that is a mutated version of cordyceps. For those who are not familiar with cordyceps, it's known as the zombie fungus. It will take over an ant body and force it to go high and visible so it can be eaten by birds. This variation, though, is one that is able to affect humans. It is found in basement environments where 4 factors are present. It has to be dark, it has to be cold, it has to be wet, and human blood needed to have been spilled. The basement dweller works in 3 stages of development. In the first stage, the spores, which can lay dormant for decades, will reactivate when exposed to blood and eventually mature into small, bright red mushrooms. That mushroom will bud a fruit-like spore that releases a scent that will draw small insects and animals into consuming it. Similar to the non-mutated cordyceps, it will take over its host's brain over time, leaving only the organs needed to live functionable. What is different is that it will drive the animal or insect, small cats, dogs, large spiders, mosquitoes, to bite, scratch, or feed off the nearest human in the dwelling. That host creature will then die once the human is affected, triggering the second stage of development. For the human that is infected, the changes are slower but more dramatic. Starting with a nauseous feeling, the person will rapidly weaken with symptoms similar to the flu. Then the person will mentally deteriorate into a semi-delirious state. This is fungus reaching the brain and starting to rot the higher capacity to think. As the brain is rotted, at the same time the fungus is reinforcing the muscle and bone fibers of its host body, making it 4 to 5 times stronger than the average human. Next, the skin will also be affected, with all melanin in the skin will be consumed to massively thicken it. The durability and protection is similar to a rhino's skin, making the host much harder to wound. As their skin loses melanin, their pigment will turn to a dark grey texture that is extremely sun-sensitive. Finally, the fungus will force the host body to start producing large amounts of adrenaline and stress hormones, driving them berserk and ready to attack anything the host encounters, along with a desire to consume as much as they can. All upper intelligence has been lost at this point. The host human has been killed and replaced with a berserk humanoid animal that is constantly searching for food. The new host will attack and consume anything edible in the house, including living things. They will aggressively attack and try to consume everything they can. Those that get away must take care not to get wounded. A bite, a scratch, even getting splashed by the host's blood can spread the fungus to a new host, starting the cycle all over again. The host will never get full or tired. More accurately, they will never feel the brain signals that tells them their body is tired, wounded, or broken down. So they will eat and eat and eat until the point their stomach is about to burst. Then they'll find the highest place possible in the house and trigger the final stage of development. The fungus will break down their body into large spore-releasing mushrooms. One that will consume every piece of matter in the house in order to get itself ready to spread to the nearby areas. Stage 3 is extremely dangerous, as the spores released will instantly affect a human or animal and rapidly convert them into a stage 2 host. One that will eat as much as they can in order to release even more spores. As long as there is consumable biological life, the cycle will repeat itself as much as it can until all potential food is exhausted. Once that happens, it will release into the wind millions of stage 1 dormant spores and then die. All those spores just needing a drop of blood in a dark place in order to start the whole process over again. The only method known to contain the infection are magnesium-fueled fires. Flames hot enough to kill all spores. Multiple passes will be required as well, because we have to be absolutely sure that this fungus does not spread.